Hello, you're watching Tim's TV. What we're going to be talking about today is the 2012 NFL season and my predictions. Today's date is August 6th. So, preseason just started last night. My predictions are going to be, well, pretty much educated guesses from last season. Let's see who I think will be in the Super Bowl. The AFC is going to come down to, once again, the Patriots and Baltimore. I think they're both going to be there. Now, a lot of Steeler fans out there are like, hey, what about the Steelers? Important thing to understand is that Big Ben's already got a rotator cuff injury. He's got a tear in his rotator cuff, and he's already said, hey, it's too late to do surgery. I just hope it doesn't get any worse. Now, over the course of the season, it probably will get worse. I expect Big Ben to have a good year, but if he's starting the season with a rotator cuff tear, I think it's going to be pretty hard for Pittsburgh to get back to the Super Bowl, even though they're a very, very good team. Take a look at New England. Somehow New England always manages to be there. With Tom Brady as quarterback, somehow they're always making it to the championship game. Now, Baltimore probably has the best team in the AFC, and so I think they'll definitely be there. Now, the Houston Texans, I think they'll be in the mix. Although they had a great year last year, it's going to be, until they do it repetitively, it's going to be hard for them to come back. Although I see the AFC coming down to Patriots, the Texans, and the Ravens. Those are the three teams that are going to be there. Of those three, probably New England makes it to the Super Bowl. On the NFC side, we had a dream team last year that, well, utterly collapsed in the Philadelphia Eagles. You had a lot of talent. It didn't work out perfectly the first year. Most of those guys are back. Let's assume that Michael Vick stays healthy. I think Pittsburgh is going to be, or not Pittsburgh, sorry. I think Philly is going to be one of the top teams in the NFC. The Giants are going to be there again, although they've won the Super Bowl before, basically as a wild card team. They really didn't show up the next year. That could easily happen again. Even though when they're playing well, they may be the best team. Well, they're the Super Bowl champs, so that makes them the best team last year. Will they be able to do it consistently? It's going to be difficult. I don't see the Giants repeating. A lot of people think Dallas is going to be the team to beat. I don't see it because they have, excuse me, they haven't done it before. This Dallas team, a lot of potential, never pays off. They have a hard time making the playoffs, and if they do, they can't get past the first round. I think that continues. Dallas goes nowhere. If they make the playoffs, they're one and done again. So let's take a look at the other teams. 49ers, very good team. I think they come close. They win their division, and they can get back to the title game. Now let's take a look at the Central Division. You got the Packers and the Bears. Packers, great team. They put up a lot of numbers. The three teams I see coming down to the championship game, two of these three teams will be in the NFC Championship game. Be the Packers, 49ers, or Philly. Now, when it all boils down, probably the Packers take it, particularly if they can get home field advantage. 49ers had a great season. I think they'll be one heck of a team. I don't think they end up with the best record in the NFC again, just because they don't have the ability. Unless Randy Moss goes super freak again. By the way, shout out to Randy. We love you. We miss you here in Minnesota. We'd be better off with you than without you. But I don't see the 49ers repeating what they did. I think they make the playoffs. I think they win the division. I think they're in a very weak division. Therefore, they pick up a lot of easy wins, which probably puts them at number 2 or number 3 going into the playoffs. I think Philly comes in, does very well. They're in a tough division, but the dream team has a year to put themselves together. I see Philly making the playoffs, 49ers, Packers, and of that, probably the Packers winning the division. The Vikings and the Bears fight it out for one of the wild card spots, and at the end of the day, probably Packers versus the Patriots, or Packers versus the Texans or Ravens. Ravens got probably the strongest team. So, general suggestion, odds are Packers, Ravens, 2012-2013 Super Bowl game. No predictions on who will win that one. I think the 49ers could probably make it to the title game. I don't think it'll be a home field advantage again, and I think they lose. Giants, 50-50, they even make the playoffs. They do not repeat as Super Bowl champions. That is my 2012 prediction for the NFL as of August 6, 2012. Thank you very much, and appreciate you watching Tim's TV.